Hey everybody, it's been a really long time since anything's happened on this channel and I for everyone who's messaged me or wondered where I was or checked up on me now and again, thank you so much. Um yes, I'm here. I'm alive. It's been a while since we've met up. Um I just because there's a lot to talk about and just there's a lot of things that I want to say. Um I don't even know how to begin, but just if you're watching this video and you've seen my previous Let's Plays and my music and everything that I've done beforehand, voiceover, whatever, thank you guys so much for being here with me and thank you guys so much for watching. Or just before I even say anything, I really appreciate it. For the longest time, I've wanted to start a new series of videos on this channel that was a bit different from my usual Let's Plays and music and voiceover and all the other stuff. What I've always tried to do on this channel is sort of find ways to connect and entertain with you guys and just have a really fun time with everyone. And everything that's happened within the past year, really year and a half, I wanted to start a new series of videos where I was just a bit more honest about my life and the things that were going on in my life. It isn't really to make anybody feel sorry for me, but if I'm able to help at least one person who might have been going through or even is going through a similar situation like the one that I did, it would have been more than worth it. And for that, I thank you guys and I hope that you enjoy. The focus of this video isn't going to be on anything too dramatic, but it does sort of answer again that question of where I've been, where was I in 2020? Because as you guys have noticed, I sort of just disappeared for pretty much really what's going almost 2 years at this point. Been about a year and a half, and I didn't upload anything at all. The first couple of months of 2020 really weren't so bad. I mean, they were easily the best. In January of 2020, I had the unbelievable opportunity to visit a major voiceover agency in Los Angeles who called me and showed interest in me. It was really exciting because I'd never been to Los Angeles in my life. I only recently just went to California for my very first time in late 2019 when I went to see my friend. And I saw them for the very first time. So late 2019 was actually pretty good for me. The agency thing did not work out, unfortunately, because they still felt that I was too inexperienced. But all things considered, honestly, I was really happy that I had that opportunity at all. And to this day, we still maintain a correspondence and we talk about how I've been and my growth and just everything that's been going on. So I'm really confident, honestly, that no is going to turn into a yes when the time was right. When I arrived back in Florida, which is where I currently live, I went back to work at a call center, which was the 17th day job that I've ever had. I'll definitely go into more detail about all of that and all the jobs that I've had in a future video. How it usually works is that I work there and then I try to race back home to try to work on content, audition, practice my art skills, work on a song, and pretty much anything and everything that could hopefully take off for me so that I can get financial support, leave my current living conditions, and maybe be happy too. I was thankfully able to release a couple of videos, which I did enjoy, but it was right around March when the pandemic hit that things started to change really fast. I was told that instead of the office, we would be working from home, which was really weird because I had to take the entire computer with me, like the whole tower and everything. And because there was really no space for it, I pretty much just had it on the floor, and I was just kind of just sitting on the floor. And when I wasn't doing any of the work, I mean, I was just playing Animal Crossing, which just came out. I mean, it was really weird. But that only lasted for a couple of weeks, and around April or so, we were put into a big conference call with the managers, and they said that we actually weren't going to be working at all because as it turns out, nobody really wants home improvements during the middle of a pandemic. So yeah, it was a really weird sensation because the job itself was extremely stressful. Your job is to call people up and sell them on home improvements, like doing their air conditioning or something. I say it was random because it genuinely was. Supposedly they agree to be called by going on a website and signing up that they want to be called, like they agree to it, but we'll legit call them even if they're only halfway through the page. Like one time I called this number and this little kid picked up the phone. Supposedly he signed up to be called because he clicked on one of those pop-up advertisements for Fortnite skins. I'm not joking. It sounds funny until you sort of realize how desperate the company actually was for money, and you kind of just have to bear through everything and people yelling at you constantly because you need the money. Fortnite Kid's mom, though, definitely wasn't happy with me. So it's one of those jobs where it was really just a test to see how long you can last. You kind of just feel like a pincushion. I somehow held on to that job for over an entire year. I wasn't unhappy to lose it, but I was, again, without a job. I really only get about $300 a month or so, and that's just from one song that I did with someone in the past. There were times before where I'd leave whatever day job that I had and see if maybe this time I can work really, really hard and be independent so I can break away and be on my own. But it wouldn't work, and then I'd feel compelled to get another job. And that cycle would just repeat over and over and over again. That's kind of how it's been for me for 8 years now or so. But with the pandemic, it didn't feel like it was the right time to get a job, even if I wanted to. So all I could really do was just hold on to whatever savings I could, invest in collabs and commissions and things that hopefully would do well for me, and just do the best that I could. Was it really the right time to send out my resume to every little entry job that was out there, hoping that someone would be interested in me, waiting on months and end before I finally get a call back from someone who said they were interested, and I would sit down with them. We would go through the same type of generic questions like, where do I see myself in 5 years, or what makes me so interested in this company? That really, really don't mean anything, because truthfully, they've already made up their mind whether or not to hire you just in the first couple seconds of just looking at you. But eventually someone would be interested, and then you'd go through the same type of orientation and maybe some of these weird outdating training modules that look like they were made like 20 years ago. And finally you get to start working, and then you're just dealing with, the same passive aggressive attitudes from the customers, and before you finally just get sick and you just either quit altogether or you just get fired. I mean, I've had like 17 day jobs, from retail, customer service, restaurants, and honestly, it's really, really, really all the same. Only the theme is different. It's basically Mario Party. One thing that they said that we could try was to file for unemployment so that we had the chance to get some support. I had no idea how it worked because I'd never done that before. I tried to follow the instructions I was given and filled out the form on the Florida website, but that was it. I didn't hear anything back for months. I could go out to look for work, but aside from being completely burned out from that last job, I was honestly just scared to, because I was afraid that I might get sick. So I was just stuck at home again and not really making any money. But that's when 2020 really started to get going. Around the same time, I got a message from YouTube saying that the instrumental to this popular song that I made one time and put on the channel was being taken down. I tried asking everyone who was a part of it to, just to see what their advice was, to see if there's anything that could have been done about it, but there really was nothing that anybody can do at all. And when it was taken down, the monetization for my channel went with it. It wasn't that I was really making any money, but after years of this channel sort of floating around 298 subs and then just surging to 1,000 when that song was made, it was a really, really exciting feeling that maybe finally things were starting to, get going. But on the other hand, losing the monetization almost immediately, it kind of clued me in that something that I sort of always knew, that no one was really watching anything else. All the Let's Play content, the music that I'd done afterwards, which I honestly thought was better, nothing else was being seen at all, which was bad, but also weirdly relieving at the same time, because I honestly just don't want people to only be here for one thing that I did a long time ago that honestly most people attribute to others anyway. One night in April, this was April 2020, when I was sort of thinking all this over, I suddenly got a message from Amazon saying, your order has been delivered. I was really confused because I hadn't ordered anything. And then when I checked, I saw it was for a Microsoft laptop for $600. I was just shocked. And when I checked the order information, it was in my name, but for an address that was in a completely different city. I got hacked. I called the bank, I called Amazon, I called PayPal, and just everyone to figure out what the heck was going on. They said that they would help give me credit to make up for it. I had to close down my Amazon account, and I just hoped that that would have been the end of it. But within just a week or so, the same thing happened again for an Apple laptop for nearly $2,000 on Walmart. I mean, at that point, I was almost broke completely. I tried calling everyone again and tried to get my money back. The weirdest thing is that I don't even remember ever making or using Walmart before. Like, who really actually uses that? But eventually, I got some credit again. I was told that I should start using two-factor authentication, which I hadn't used before. It was annoying because you sort of have to do all these extra steps every single time. But after everything that I've been going through, it was more than worth it. So I thought, was that it? Like, was that really finally going to be it? But no, it happened a third time for another laptop, and then after that, like a week later, for an iPad. I mean, at this point, it was about $4,000 that had been stolen from me. The worst part about all this is just how normalized it was starting to feel. Like, it felt like I was being held hostage to someone, and there was just nothing that I could do about it. I mean, even PayPal had kind of given up and was starting to, like, accuse me that this was my fault that this was happening. With the two-factor authentication thing, I found out that the reason why it was an issue was because whoever had access to my information could just bypass the security just by clicking on the payment option that they chose. Unless they logged out of my account first and then try to re-log back in, the protection wouldn't kick in. So all they had to do was just make a guest account, pick whatever item that they want, click on the payment option, which was just PayPal, put down my information, and then there they go. They get a free, really whatever they want. So what I did was I tried to explain this to PayPal and the bank and everybody, and I closed down my PayPal account, made a new one with two-factor immediately enabled, and just crossed my fingers that would be the last of it. Thankfully, since then, I haven't had any incidents, but the experience of just getting hurt like this constantly was really starting to wear me down. Life at where I live was going to be very, very stressful. I'm going to make a whole series of videos that describe growing up and my living conditions and just everything that I've been through over the past 10 years or so. But living with one side of an unhealthy, divorced family, compounded with everything else that I was going through, I mean, it was making it hard just to get out of bed. Like, the best way that I could describe it is that it feels like you're in quicksand, and the only thing around you that you can grab onto is ice. So every time you try, you just kind of slip and fall even further in. And problems that I was having with friends and family and everything just happening around me, I was starting to imagine to myself, am I just gonna get sick next? Am I gonna get am I going to get like COVID? Am I going to get into a car accident? I knew it wasn't really healthy, but it just felt like I was getting bonked on the head over and over again. And it's like, did I do something wrong? And the craziest thing is that having said that and having started to think this, it actually happened. On June 24th, 2020, thinking all this over, I got into the first car accident in my entire life. I was okay, thankfully. I was okay. I wasn't hurt, and neither was the other driver. We pulled over, and first I was so grateful that they didn't just drive away, because then I would just be freaking out to myself, I guess I'll just die. But we both pulled over immediately, and it was the craziest thing because as soon as he stopped, the first thing he started asking was, "Are you going to file through insurance? You're not going to file through insurance, are you?" The police eventually did come over, and it turns out that this guy wasn't just looking at his phone and not paying attention, but he was also driving on a suspended license. His truck, which was completely fine and was just the meanest looking lawn care truck you can ever imagine. Like, if you've seen one of those lawn care trucks, just imagine like giant teeth, like cartoon teeth just in front. It was like the scariest car I've ever seen in my life, but it didn't belong to him either. It belonged to his boss, who I guess would be the one to pay for everything. And to put it on top of all of that, the weirdest part is that when he gave me his phone number so that I could call him later, I guess to convince me not to file through insurance, which is something that I was still even learning what that was. The person on the other line was like, this isn't Joe. So he basically lied and gave me the wrong number. And it was just the weirdest, most confusing thing. Like, did he think giving me a fake number would somehow help his chances? I don't know. So yeah, I went to the police. We got everything. I went home. I immediately called to file for the claim. Nearly had another accident with another lady driving back, but I made it home, and eventually I just went straight to bed. I really felt like I was a danger to myself at that point. Like, how could things get so awful that you start imagining things happening to you and then they actually do? Like, I could not understand it. I know it was just a coincidence rationally, but at the same time I still just couldn't believe it. I mean, even earlier that day, I went around to servers telling people that I needed to take time off. I really just wasn't feeling well. I needed to get away. And then literally that exact same day, I had the accident. I was just done with everything. Never mind even thinking about to upload content. So yeah, that was it. That was my 2020. Everything that I've done since that summer, since last summer, so it's been about just about a year ago at this point. Everything that I've done since then, as you can see with all of this and with all this, has been in an attempt to kind of really just start over. I've spent a lot of time thinking about what I was doing beforehand, what I want to do in general, how can I get better, and just start to slowly rebrand everything that I was doing. I'm now thankfully working with a wonderful group of people who believe in me and don't mind that, this channel is still pretty small and there's not a whole lot going on, and they want to help support me. Um, you know, and really just trying to come back so I don't have to be in that quicksand. I love to make a lot more storytime videos like this that are hopefully way more positive and much more encouraging. Hopefully where I can help people who may have been through the things that I have been through, or even just talking a little bit like this. But I love to be able to do more videos like that. Definitely more gameplays. There will be more music. I like to start uploading artwork, which is something that I'm starting to get better at. Maybe I can do speed paints or just something like that. There's just a lot to catch up on. But I guess what it is in a nutshell is that I'm ready to try to be happy again, and I'm ready to come back. So thank you guys very, very much for watching. If you made it all the way, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I hope to have more videos and things out for you soon. But thank you guys very much for watching. And for everyone who saw me beforehand and was wondering where I was, thank you so much for being here and for waiting for me. And I'm ready to let's have fun again. I'm ready to have fun again. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.